Well, it could all be automated. I mean, if you can have a distribution CD-ROM that at runtime determines which modules to load depending on the hardware configuration, then you could have the same, use the same method to determine which drivers you need to compile. Oh, okay, so you have this new hardware that I didn't know about. You need this driver. Let me compile it. Okay, now I'm done. Is it okay if I load the driver? Yeah, go ahead. Okay, let's boot.
I was amazed to hear about cross-flashing. Do you change chips in a running system?
Yes. That is actually perfectly safe. The flash chip is really only used when the BIOS is run. Even one of the earlier things the BIOS does is it copies the contents of the flash chip into RAM, because the flash chip access is really slow, so it would take forever if the BIOS was running out of the flash chip. And that means the flash chip is just sitting there on the bus, and no one is talking to it. So if you pull it out, the system will continue running along and be none the wiser. It's, of course, you have to be careful to not, I don't know, stuff pens and paper clips and so on onto the CPU or the socket for the flash chip. But if you're careful and maybe use the push-pin flash, it's perfectly fine to hot swap flash chips. We do this all the time.
Any more questions? Oh,
one more question there.
Payload utilities, are they portable to other platforms?
What utilities, for example?
The flash ROM.
Flash ROM?
Using it in Etherboot, gPXE.
And what other platforms do you mean?
Like gPXE or Etherboot.
Yes.
The tool flash ROM, can I use it to flash memory on Ethernet cards?
Not at the moment, no, not at the moment. But we're actually looking right now at implementing a sort of programmer plug-in interface in flash ROM, really simple, but still, that would make it possible to write a simple driver for the Ethernet card in order to be able to reflash the chip there. But there are some, I've seen some other utilities to do exactly that, which are completely standalone utilities and work very well. Flash ROM doesn't do it at the moment, though.
In gPXE, you can boot over, at least in the, it's possible to boot over Wi-Fi. There is a Prism 2, there is a very old code for booting over Wi-Fi.
Okay.
And one of the major issues in gPXE is that you need to backport some wireless driver from the Linux kernel to gPXE. It's kind of a work. Do you think it would be possible to boot from Wi-Fi with the Linux BIOS and some wireless drivers? Or it's
yes, definitely, and this is why Ron is such a, and me also, is such a big fan of using Linux as the bootloader, because you have the hardware drivers in Linux. You know they work because you're running them in the operating system, but with open firmware or with Grub2 or with Philo or whatever, Lilo, you end up writing your own drivers again for the same hardware, and that's such a waste of time because you have these nice shiny drivers in the kernel that work. So that's exactly the point of using Linux as a bootloader in order to reuse the drivers that are known to work.
And what is the status of net booting? Do you rely on gPXE or you have also your own net booting, or how do you do?
I think I understand your question. How to do this then? Well, you need a kernel with the wireless drivers, and you would use that kernel as a payload for core boot. But that's not enough because the kernel is going to want to mount the root, so you also have to tell the kernel how to find the root, how to configure the networking interface, how to associate, etc. So you need a small init-RAM FS or init-RAM disk with the wireless utils and to store your configuration in, and that will then configure the network and mount the root file system wherever it is. But that's sort of out of the scope of Coreboot. Coreboot really only goes until the payload boundary, and then it's someone else's world and system. Is that an answer? Okay.
Any more questions?
So it seems no more questions. If you have anything else you want to talk to me about, feel free to come up. Again, the workshop tomorrow at 10 p.m. if you want to have a look at how we build Coreboot and what we can do to put it on the LX1Z. Thanks a lot.